Watching the World, welcome back. And now, Nigeria and Bangladesh have reaffirmed their commitment to developing Nigerian youth, acknowledging their critical role in molding the country's future. The Bangladesh High Commissioner to Nigeria, Masudor Rahman, emphasized this commitment during a courtesy visit to the Minister of Youth Development in Abuja. He stressed the country's commitment to expanding connections with Nigeria in the field of youth development.
We want to share that it is the youth who can transform, but in the right channel, in the areas of ICT, in the technologies. If you are bringing it faster, because there is huge unemployment rate in both our countries, that I must say, So these are, and demographic synergies are very much high.
We are starting with Bangladesh because this organization is basically a Bangladesh-focused organization. And having been to Bangladesh before, we have explored, we have seen the opportunities, and we keep singing and presenting it at every opportunity. We feel synergizing between our youths and the youths of Bangladesh through trade and technology will actually take us on path. And the objective is, as an outcome, we should be able at the end of the day to sign on about 25 tech or ICT-based trade and investment issues. We want partnership, we want our youths across the sectors to be able to enlist or subscribe to the event while it is domiciled in the Ministry of Youth because it's youth-centered.
That is 21st century risky. That's what we need to concentrate on. And that's why I agree with you when you talk about innovation technology. And that is the era that we are now. And then for us in the ministry, anything at all, I said it in my opening remark, that will enhance the potential of Nigerian youth, we are in for it. So in terms of collaboration with you, you can take it for granted. Even though I have not spoken to the honorable minister, if he's here, that's what we tell you. Because I have been saying collaboration. We don't want to work in silos. We don't believe that we have all the solutions to the problems. So we need to also synergize with people of like mind to ensure that we deliver on our mandate as a Ministry of Youth Development in Nigeria.
Now, to discuss the partnership with Nigeria and Bangladesh, we have Bob Achanya, who is the president Nigeria-Bangladesh Business Plus Technology Forum, to discuss more on the partnership on youth development. Good to have you in the studio for The World today. Now, how's the partnership with the Bangladesh and Nigeria been in recent years? That's in terms of trade, for economic development. That's a bilateral trade partnership and all.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice to be on a rise. I think this is one of the best days in my life. I want to thank your management and your reporter for doing this.
Good to know that.
Nigeria, Bangladesh. A lot of people underrate Bangladesh. And way back in 2016, when I served as Director General Public-Private Partnerships in Kogi State under the Yahya Bello administration, I came to realize that there's so much that we need to do to be able to upscale across the sectors in the state. And the governor and government was smart enough to identify the private sector as the fulcrum of its development. So what we did then was to begin to look for partnerships. And in that stride, we got the ambassador to Bangladesh to come to Kogi and spend 5 good days in the state, where he explored and tried to see the opportunities that are available. From 2016 until now, I must tell you, the growth and the nature of relationship between Nigeria and Bangladesh has grown. In that same stride, in 2023, we led, through the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, the first high-level delegation to Bangladesh, an exploratory one. So over time, this relationship has grown. And Nigeria and Bangladesh, in terms of bilateral relations, I think is doing well, but we need to do more. And that is where we come in. Doing well in the sense that there are certain structures that need to be in place in order to take advantage, optimize the opportunities therein in the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and such a country. And the country is within the global south. And if you look at the global south, these are countries that have the same development trajectories, the same problems, the same challenges, but the Asian countries have been able to go beyond that and develop beyond Nigeria. For instance, in the 60s, our GDP was basically at par. Today, it's very far beyond, and you ask why. That is because Bangladesh is an export-oriented economy, Nigeria is not. There are emerging skills. There's so much that needs to be done. Between the Ministry of Trade and the Foreign Affairs, a lot needs to be done in order to upscale this relationship. And that's talking about having a very, very important chancery, a high commission in Bangladesh. What we have now is India, you know, trying to jurisdict over.
So we do not have that.
We do not have, and it's important. Secondly, there is a binational commission. The binational commission is expected to take charge of all issues, to discuss issues, bring them up as they emerge, and also be able to put that relationship at its best. What Bangladesh has to offer is huge. In fact, the lawyer would say it's humongous.
But my question here is, they do have a high commission here. We don't have that. Wow, that equation is not balanced.
So that's the imbalance,
Right.
and I'm glad you are raising it.
Yeah.
What we are doing now is to put before the government that this is the time for us to have a chancery in Bangladesh. Bangladeshis, yes, they have their challenges, we have ours, but if we have a chancery there, the volume of trade will quadruple. Bangladesh, you know, is good, is world famous with textiles and garments. Their pharmaceuticals is top notch.
Right.
In agriculture and ICT, they are wonderful.
Right.
And then emerging skills. Bangladesh is involved in shipbreaking and shipbuilding. We are yet to get there. Bangladesh is a delta country. Nigeria has over 3,000 kilometers of rivers. How have we optimized the opportunities in that place? So we want to see how this bilateral relation between Nigeria and Bangladesh can become more useful and beneficial to both countries. And then we are able to really center it around our youths. And that was the reason for the visit to the Minister of Youth.
So straight to the
yesterday.
point, what the Nigerian youth who is watching now will want to know is how this partnership can benefit the youth.
Beautiful.
Yes.
As we highlighted yesterday, the Nigerian youth needs to go through a lot of capacity building. There are emerging skills that will put the country at its best and begin to change the nature and type of SMEs we have in this country. It is the youth that will have to populate that sector. We have so many of our youths that are doing very well in the tech sector. We have frontier technologies. We have Internet of Things. We have big data. We have robotics. A lot of our youths are doing well. But I think we need to do this synergy in order for us eventually to begin to bring the two demographics together, because the youth demographics has a lot to contribute to economic development.
Right.
And luckily,
We have
the
more
present
youth. Okay.
administration is pro-youth,
Right.
and they are providing all that is needed in order to get our youth to be working.
And in terms of population, we
In
have
terms
more
of-
of the youth
absolutely,
as well. So
absolutely.
how have we looked at, market insights, regulatory guidance, and networking opportunities that will enable entrepreneurs and investors to navigate the complexities of the international trade with greater ease and all of that? Do we? Because we often welcome lofty ideas, but the issue is putting things in place to ensure that this, for Bangladesh to have set up theirs here, it's something they have, long planned, they had the commission that you talked about. So are we looking at those, areas
Yes,
as well?
like I said,
Yeah.
Bangladesh is proactive because they
Right.
know Nigeria is a huge market
Right,
in Africa.
right.
And so they are
But do we know that?
They are doing everything to position themselves. And there's concurrent accreditation for the ambassador. He goes to Gambia, he goes to Mali, he goes to, I think, Cote d'Ivoire, he also goes to Benin Republic, he goes to Togo. And so you see, all these people are dependent on Nigeria, so to say. So at the end of the day, there is the absolute necessity for the Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also our government to begin to look very, very seriously towards attracting that benefits, you know, in order for us to reciprocate.
Do you think we lack the
Bangladesh
political will because they are taking advantage of, you know, the populace? Because I've read up of, you know, on their, you know, textile, fashion. Recently, the High Commissioner, the wife had sort of exhibition where, you know, there was food, there was fashion and all of that. So is it political will that we lack to, you know, look into the economy as well?
I think, of course, you see, political will is very important, and that is why we believe that because of the pressure that is beginning to come from within Nigeria, particularly stakeholders, it becomes incumbent on those pressure groups to begin to put that reality, you know, to government, and that is part of what we are doing. And in line with that, part of our 5-year work plan is for us to begin an entrepreneurship and innovation alliance, which takes us to the Global South. The Global South consists of countries in Africa and in the developing world. In order for them to actually appreciate us, we appreciate them, and see how we can come to a nexus that will help us to pick up our challenges, create solutions for them, and then begin to run in our economy. So the event is expected. It's a program that runs for 5 years that goes to each country as diplomats. You go to do capacity building. We go to do visits to factories. You interface with the youth, you know, within the sectors of focus. And then at the end of the day, we're able to sign up a number of youths, 25 minimum, in order for us to come back. We do that for 4 times in a year, which is 1 trip for each quarter. And then at the end, we are able to get to 25 in the first instance, times 4, that's about 100 signed on entrepreneurship or interfaces.
We're taking our youths there?
Yes, we're taking our youths.
Okay.
Bangladesh is the first. The next trip, we may go to Vietnam. The next one, we may go
That's
to
Asia.
Malaysia. Yeah, that's why I say Global
Yes,
South,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Southeast Asia. And then at the end, we are able to do the needful in order to make our own modest contribution to Mr. President's youth-centered policies and also economic diversification.
So,
and the Minister of Youth is quite proactive. He's doing all that he can in order to give that promotion and then empowerment to the youth. So he's identifying youths in the area that requires that, which is cross-sector. And then he now promotes or try to see how he can now set them up sustainably by empowering them in order to set up. So we are very confident that this collaboration we are seeking with the Ministry of Youth Development will be a very major one and is going to provide some solutions in the short term to medium and long term.
Yeah, I know that you're, Achanya, familiar with some of the issues we have in this country, the issues of unemployment, insecurity. We have issues with power. As much as they go to learn some of these ICT things you've mentioned, we also have to address some of the deficits that we have in the country, just so that you don't acquire those knowledge and then you come back and then there's nothing to, because most of our youth, like you mentioned, they're very, very inquisitive. They're good at their handwork. They're good at the skills that they do. But the issue is we also have some deficits in the country. So are we looking at, you know, addressing those issues as well? We have the issues of power. And when do we begin to look at the issues that we have in country and address it via bilateral partnerships?
Good question.
Yeah.
I will say this pointedly. Necessity is the mother of invention. Let me take it from that philosophy in my organization. And one thing we do is identifying problems or challenges and then providing solutions. And the problem we have identified is that the youth must be optimized in terms of their contribution to the national economy. In Bangladesh, we have what you call the nationally determined contributions. It's a national thing. Every year they celebrate it, which is talking about what the youths are contributing to the national economy, to the policies and all that. And I think it's time for us to come to that level in this country. Yes, we have youth organizations, we have youth youth bodies that are pro-youth and all that. Now they must begin to gear their energies towards making their contribution recognized and known. And how do we do that? You talk about the issue of power. Apart from power, there are other underpinnings that are not making things move in this country. We have institutions. The institutions are working, but they need to be more creative and also be able to think outside the box to get the youths into functioning. We have the Bank of Industry.
Right.
We have SMIDAN. We have very many other youth-centered organizations. What are we going to be doing to bring them into this synergy to be able to make that contribution? For energy, energy has gone beyond NEPA. I must say that. Dangote, Bua, and some other big companies today do not rely on the national grid. I hope you know that. If they are not relying on the national grid, how are they managing? Now we have renewable energies. We have agencies that are responsible for renewable energy in this country. Now, how have we deployed? How have they been able to provide those solutions to, the sectors we are saying? Yeah. And then I think we must also begin to do one thing in this country, and that is to say that the government must now begin to identify areas, to go with or to suit their comparative advantages. For instance, if I'm going for dairy business and I'm an investor coming from anywhere, I don't need to come to Abuja to come to seek investment opportunities in that area. I could go to the southeast in order to discuss with people there. And in going to the southeast, it means the infrastructure is there. You have all the benefits, that could come to an investor, well provided in those areas, which means, is it energy, is it power, is it services? Everything will be provided in that place. And so if anybody comes, you don't need to go out to say you are going to Abuja to get, or you are relying on the national grid. Of course, the national grid will be a backup, but we must begin to have contingency energy plans that will help us do that energy transition beautifully in a manner that the beneficiaries.
All of this still boils down to political will.
Yes, so the political will that I have seen now, I think, is able to provide that leadership. And the leadership you need is for the right policies to be put in place. You are also policing that leadership to ensure its implementation. A few days ago, sorry, I must have to say this, we had the closure of the Panteca markets. Panteca market is where you sell fairly used items in this country, where, unfortunately, the police or security agencies were able to find over 20 manhole covers in a particular shop. That is what we heard. I'm sure there is more. There are so many Panteca markets. Probably you have been dealt with by those babambolas or those scavengers. I mean, this is a very wonderful area for youth to actually optimize and provide solutions as to how that sector can be managed. It's a money spinning sector. And what you see in these people, the scavengers, they are only errand boys. So who are the people behind them? Now let's begin to get them, in line. You begin to know the kind of benefits that could come to you if you are in that sector. Take advantage
of that spot.
Beautiful. Yeah. So the youth that are sitting idle, that we don't have this, we don't have this, everybody must not have a paid employment. So let that creativity cap in the youth come up, and let the resilience of the youth also begin to show forth in order for us to optimize their advantages for the economy of the country.
Thank you so much. Well said. Bob Achanya is the president, Nigeria-Bangladesh Business Plus Technology Forum. He and I have been discussing about the Nigeria-Bangladesh partnership.